Hey guys, what's going on? It's BizzyDad here, you there, and I'm throwing my 2 cents into what has become the biggest hotbed topic recently in Force of Will, and that is this card in front of you right now, Laevateinn, the Demon Sword. Should there be an early ban on this card? Should this card join the ranks of Reflect Refrain as persona non grata? A lot of people say yes, and it has to do with the new Prisia ruler. Now, Laevateinn is an incredibly powerful card, as we've all known, as we've all seen. It's been around a while. It's been around about a year right now, if I think it can. Well, actually, longer than a year. It's on its way out. It's part of the Alice cluster. It's going to get rotated out in September once the new cluster starts. But people are screaming, they're shouting in the streets because they want this card banned early because of just how destructive it is, just because of how powerful it is, and how it just is all the rage in decks, especially the new Prisia ruler. The turn 2 OTK, you know who you are. You might have been a victim of it. You might be net decking and blasting people with it. And is it because of Laevateinn? No. Should Laevateinn be banned early? My thoughts? No. Laevateinn has been around a long time. And the Force of Will, people who develop this game, people who create the cards and test the cards, the onus is on them. That's always been my opinion, to take the cards, the existing cards, into consideration when creating new cards. Now, I'm not going to go into Laevateenn's abilities in detail. Your J Ruler gains swiftness. You could pump it to boost the damage up 200. You could banish a Resonator for 0 and get graveyard effects. That's crazy. I think that could be more of an abuse than the whole Prisia thing. Discard one to produce a red and banish it to give your J Rule imperishable. All of that for 0 will. That's so much for basically nothing. But banning this, does that solve the problem? When it comes to the topic of Prisia and the turn 2 OTK, the answer is no, and I'm going to prove it to you. We're going to have a little mock deal and a little mock demonstration to show that banning Laevateinn does not solve this problem. So let's widen the shot and let's get into exactly what I'm talking about, and then you guys let me know what you think. All right, guys, we have the playmat all set up here. We have our mock deck, and we have our mock stone deck right here, and our mock ruler card. And I say mock ruler card because in RDE, Prisia is the only ruler I did not pull and I do not have at the moment. So standing in for her will be Prisia's Leap, because there she is. She is on there. She's right into your face, leaping into your face for the turn 2 OTK. Now, we're in a situation where Laevateinn is banned. There is no Laevateinn, and we're going to play as Prisia. We won the dice roll. We're going to choose to go second. Now, obviously, the turn 2 OTK, even with Laevateinn, you need the optimal hand. You need optimal conditions, and that is going to hold true in this scenario too. So it's going to be no surprise that we are about to pull the optimal hand and show that we could still pull this off even without Laevateinn. So, like I said, we won the dice roll. We're going to go second. So let's draw our hand. We see Death Scythe. We see Sacred Elf, Sprinting Flame Horse, Wall of Wind, Horn of Sacred Beasts. This is really our optimal hand here. This is what we would really like to see in the open. And like I said, we are going second. So our opponent goes first, does whatever they have to do. They're going to pass to us. Okay, great. So we're going to draw for turn. Lightning Strike. That's nice. And we are going to play our Regalia, our Horn of Sacred Beasts, and our Death Scythe. Again, the Pump Regalia, as they call it, where you can rest and pump your J Ruler up, is key to getting this OTK off, as you're going to see. So we're going to call a stone. Okay. And it's Memoria to Reincarnation. Great. That's Prisia's stone. So we're going to use it. We'll rest it, and we'll play our Sacred Elf, and we'll pass the turn. We are in prime shape right here. Again, optimal conditions. This, you don't know what your opponent's going to have or what they're going to do to try to stop you or prevent this from happening. But again, just for the sake of discussion, we're talking about optimal hand, optimal conditions. So now it's going to our opponent's turn, who's going to call in their second stone, and now they are working with 2 stones. let's just say they try to summon something or put something that costs 2 on the field. We can use Sacred Elf for the green, play Wall of Wind on them to cancel it unless they pay 1 more. Of course, they don't have 1 more. So now again, optimal conditions. That spell's been canceled and they are tapped out. It's going to now come to us where we can go to put this game away. So we will draw a card into our turns, Wind Secluded Refuge, which is nice to see. Before recovery, we are going to rest both of our regalia. This is going to pump our J ruler up, +2/+2 for the turn. And now we go into recovery. Sorry, guys, working with limited room right here. We've recovered. We are now going to pump it again, each +2/+2. So now our J ruler is going to be +8/+8 for the turn. We're going to use the green from the Sacred Elf. We're going to use red for Energize to J activate. So Priscilla comes into the field and her enter ability hits. And when she comes in, you either cycle a stone or a resonator. We're going to choose to cycle a stone here. But before we do, we're going to rest to float a red. So we have a red floating right here. And now we cycle a stone. We put this at the bottom of our stone deck. We pull a new stone and it is a Blasting Waves. It is a red-green. And we've just hit the condition to pull Priscilla's God's Art off with, but let's get to that in a second. When the Memoria leaves the field, we get to draw a card, which is a Rook Egg. That's nice. Again, this is completely not necessary. So before we go any further, we're going to use the red that we floated to play Inheritance on the Sprinting Flame Horse. So the Inheritance is 1 red and discard. Target J Resonator gains +2/+2 and Swiftness until the end of the turn. Goes into our graveyard, we target our Priscilla. So now Priscilla is in the field and is currently a 2,000 with Swiftness. You can see where this is going. What we're going to do is we're going to take our stone that's in, we're going to rest it, and we're going to float a green. So green is now floated, and we declare an attack with Priscilla. Priscilla's trigger happens where on her attack, we can now cycle a stone or a resonator. We're going to cycle a stone. Remember, we floated green, so we have a green floating. This goes to the bottom of our stone deck. We call a new stone, and it's a Memoria of Reincarnation. Again, optimal conditions. We use this now, rest it to float a red, and now we have red and green, plus a wind and Firestone has hit the field this turn. We now call for Priscilla's God's Art, which is red and green. And the God's Art, to me, is where the problem here is with this OTK. Because the very first sentence in the God's Art is recover the card. So again, this is all on one stack. This is all on the chase. We declared an attack. We have the attack trigger to cycle the stones. The stone came in. We used it to call the God's Art and stack it on top of the attack. So once the God's Art resolves, Priscilla now recovers, and that God's Art takes effect. Recover this card. J Resonators you control gain Swiftness and Flying for the turn. This is still all resolving on that first attack. So now the first attack is still there at 2,000 and flying, and now Priscilla is recovered. So the optimal condition, our opponent will not have a flyer to block, and that first 2,000 hits our opponent in the face, flying. Priscilla is now recovered. She still has Swiftness. She swings again for another 2,000. You could cycle the stone. It's not going to matter because the second 2,000 is going to hit our opponent's face again, flying. 2,000 plus 2,000 is 4,000. You got it. Game over. And no Laevateinn needed. Wasn't even a second thought in this setup here. And again, it's all optimal. But my thing is the God's Art. And the God's Art itself, I get it. The Pumpkin Witch effect, it's really strong. Certainly, it's a game ender. But the real problem with me is that very first sentence where it says, recover this card. If that was never there, if you couldn't recover Priscilla when you call her God's Art, it makes it still very, very strong. You can then rely on your other J Resonators in the field to help put the game away. But Priscilla can only attack once. And sure, maybe it's for 2,000. Regalia will rotate out, and I think that's going to help. There's still ways to pump up J Rulers. It's always going to be that way. But even if you got Priscilla to 2,000, she's only able to swing once instead of recovering and then swinging again for the game. And I think that's where the problem is. It's not Laevateinn in this case. Yes, Laevateinn is a crazy powerful card. That's not this discussion. It's Priscilla. Those 3 words, recover this card. If those 3 words weren't there, it's a much more realistic gods are. It's still crazy as it is, and Prisia was made to be a meta ruler, obviously. But that's just my thought process on it. And again, sorry, I don't have the real Prisia, so we'll have Prisia's Lepus standing in. She still looks cute. But that's my thought on it. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I'm not saying that Laevateinn is I'm not saying that Laevateinn is not overpowered. It is. It's a crazy card. But just for the sake of this discussion, and then for the sake of everyone going nuts on the Prisia OTK, you don't need Laevateinn to do it. I just proved it. And so let me know what you think. Drop a comment below. And that is it for today. Thanks for a few minutes, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.